This mystery will astonish you. A killer who taunted the police, mailed puzzles to newspapers, and vanished into thin air. No detective could ever pin him down. Late 1960s, Northern California. A string of seemingly random attacks, cars on lonely roads, a taxi in the city, left communities terrified. At first, investigators had no idea they were chasing the same ghost. December 20th, 1968, two teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, shot on a country road outside Vallejo. July 4th, 1969, a young couple, Darlene Farron and Michael Mageau, ambushed at a parking lot. One died. The other survived, but couldn't identify his attacker. October 11th, 1969, a San Francisco taxi driver, Paul Stein, gunned down in broad daylight. Then, the letters began. Sent to local newspapers, mailed to police. Confident, cruel, encrypted. He called himself the Zodiac. He signed his notes with a simple cross-circle symbol and promised more terror. Inside those envelopes were taunts and puzzles, ciphers meant to outsmart anyone who tried to stop him. Some codes were cracked by amateur sleuths and cryptographers. Others stayed stubbornly unsolved for decades. Investigators chased leads across counties. They interviewed witnesses, followed tips, and tested suspects. Detectives built timelines and mapped sightings. The trail, however, always grew cold. Over the years, suspects came and went. Theories multiplied: a lone madman, a group, a well-placed loner living a quiet life. One name became famous in true crime circles: a suspect who never faced charges. DNA tests and new techniques would later clear some leads and reopen others, but none delivered closure. Part of the horror was theater. The Zodiac wanted attention. He demanded it. He wrote about slaughter and threatened more killings, and he measured his power in fear. Yet despite the ferocity of his language and the brazenness of his acts, the man himself remained anonymous. To the survivors, to the families, the lack of answers felt worse than the crimes. A face never confirmed, a motive left unexplained. Townspeople learned to live with the not knowing and a deeper, quieter dread. Decades later, amateur sleuths and professionals still probe the case. New tools, DNA, digital analysis, crowdsourced cryptography, have cracked pieces of the puzzle. Some ciphers were solved. Some suspects were investigated in new light. But the essential question remains: who was the Zodiac? A killer who hid in plain sight. A string of victims, a legacy of terror, and no final answer. The Zodiac left clues, codes, and questions, and the mystery still astonishes. If you want more deep dives into cold cases that still baffle detectives, hit follow.